staunch character.
Hello, Alfred. You boys look very, very handsome, very healthy today.
Other thing, Mrs. Beale wasn't taken care of sexually.
This is where I first learned to dance. I have the memories of Couture MCL, chasing a squirrel.
Take off the skirt and use it as a cape. So I think this is the best costume for the day.
You know what's on Criterion Channel right now, and it's a tough watch, but a fascinating one, is a documentary called The Emperor's Naked Army Marches On. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
Oh, this is a movie, going back to Errol Morris. I found a list of Errol Morris's favorite documentaries. And on there was, Land Without Bread, the Buñuel movie, and The Man with Movie Camera. But on his number one movie was The Emperor's Naked Army Marches On.
It's basically a documentary about a Japanese soldier from World War II who was part of a platoon, and once the Japanese surrendered, soldiers in his platoon tried to leave, and they were shot and killed by, a group of generals. Were ordered executed.
This guy survived this, and he's been seething about it for about 40 years. So now it's 1980s, and he takes a film crew with him, and he goes and finds these colonels. And they're these nice old men. And he goes into their houses and places of business. One guy owns a restaurant. One guy's retired. And he very politely comes down and sits and chats with them and says, you did this. And I want you to admit that you did this on camera. And if you do not admit it, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. The guys go, I don't know, get out of my house, whatever. And this guy calmly starts taking off his jacket and just starts beating the shit out of these guys.
Oh my God.
And it's a revenge documentary. It's just this guy is so angry, and you kind of go, well, who's insane here? This guy's acting insane. And that's just not the way human beings work.
Right. But
also, how do they think that this guy's going to just forget this? They were just following orders. They were, and you see them, and one guy is just, hello, little at a restaurant, he's the manager at a restaurant, very sweet man, He has, and you get very anxious when he shows up because you're like, oh, this guy's about to get beat up,
You're basically watching this guy, these old war veterans, and the wounds are still there. The wounds are still fresh, and you get to see the psychology of that war. And it also, I think the most interesting thing for me about the movie is he insane, or is what he's doing a virtuous thing? And it's a very thin line.
He's acting insane, and you're watching him be insane, but then you're thinking about what he's gone through, and you're kind of going, well, it really messes with the morality of the whole thing, but also the just what war, this is totally simplifying it, but what war does to people. And this guy wanting justice and just looking like an insane person and committing crimes. He's walking into people's houses and beating them up. And it has a thing in it which I love, which is a real fight. I grew up like you watching movie fights. And then when you would see a fight in life, you went, wow, that's not what it looks like in movies. And this one, there's one guy, he's at his house, he starts beating the shit out of him, and the guy's fighting him back, and the guy's wife is screaming, and his son comes in, pulls him off of him, and then they just start talking. And then they kind of almost seem like they're friends. And then the guy says the other thing, and then they start getting mad again, and then they start fighting again, and now they're in another room, and he's hitting him with shit, whatever, and then they kind of separate him again, and they start chatting again. And then the cops show up and escort the guy out. And when they start escorting out, he starts fighting him again, and and there's a 16 millimeter camera and sound just there getting all this.
Oh my God.
And it's really, really powerful. And you do watch it going, that man's insane. And you don't want him in your house. But then you're thinking, what drove him to this? It feels like weirdly just why it's happening to him. I think, I don't know if Joshua Oppenheimer has seen that, but when I saw the act of killing, I went, oh God. But what's interesting about this, where act of killing is this kind of fascinating kind of lesson to this guy, you know, making him recreate it, you know, and having to look at himself. This thing is more just, you know, it's like what you do when you're at the end of your rope.
It is just one of the most powerful films I think I've ever seen. I'm a big movie fan. I love Errol Morris. This is his second movie, Vernon, Florida. He was trying to make a documentary about a place in Florida called Nub City, Vernon, Florida, where these people were cutting off their limbs for insurance money. And so he went there and he couldn't find any proof of this. So he ended up just profiling the people in this town. And it is like a very strange, existentialist, very funny profile of these very strange people. I find this movie like incredibly moving, but also very like hypnotic. Please, if you could find it, Vernon, Florida is fantastic.
Florida is amazing. I, again, saw this. There's a Sound Warehouse video, and I became obsessed with Errol Morris because Thin Blue Line. And I had heard that Gates of Heaven was Roger Ebert's favorite movie and all this. And I was like, well, God, I got to see these other films he's made. And I had a teacher at my high school named Randy Lewis was his name, and he had seen these movies. I feel like I remember him going, oh, you got to see these early Errol Morris movies. And yeah, so it's Vernon, Florida, which you've already covered, but it is, you know, Nub City, and he doesn't really find anything, any real acts of this stuff. But what I just found interesting was to see a documentary that it casts a spell on you when you have to kind of sit and watch it. No distraction, and I wish I could have seen this in the theater, same with Gates of Heaven, because it does, it like rewires your brain while you're watching it. Yeah, but it's like you understand this weird philosophy that all these backwoods people have. Exactly, they all came out of this earth or something. It doesn't, and I think what people talk, the best scene in that movie is the three guys at the gas station talking about how their friend killed himself, and they start arguing over how he was able to shoot himself with a rifle. Is great.
The very next damn day after we was working, and he said that day, he says, that'll be the last thing I ever do is to shoot myself, which it was.
But it is just, it's one of those movies that has a profound effect on me every time I watch it. And just, again, it's like Mishima in that way where I'm like, there's nothing like this. And to have, you know, to be a filmmaker now that, you know, I've made things and been a part of things, acted in a lot of movies. There's so much writing. There's so much money and people and time writing on a movie. Mm-hmm. It makes films like Vernon, Florida, and real daring movies. I have so much more respect for the filmmaker because Errol Morris is sitting around there with a ton of people who are not getting paid a lot, who are at his whim, and you do want to, like, if you're like me, kind of a people pleaser, you want to make sure everyone's okay and you hope that the project's going to be okay. So to have your persistence of vision of, okay, you guys are all here. I have the money. We're going to shoot this guy talk about turkeys for about 2 weeks. And we're going to shoot it in a way like no one's ever shot a documentary, and it probably won't work.
And I've always loved it, especially turkey hunting. They're a smart bird, the smartest we've got in this country.
You know, and then you go, and then to have that confidence to do it, you know, I have a lot of respect for that guy.